Hello, America. JOC here with your Ranting Politics headline updates, where we are diving into today's most explosive political stories that you need to know about. Coming up, we'll break down the shocking twist in the Hamas hostage situation, where a promised body swap went completely sideways in a serious violation of the ceasefire agreement. Then, we'll dive into the confirmation of our new FBI Director Kash Patel, which passed by the skin of its teeth with a 51-49 vote. Trust me, the drama behind this one is something else. We're also covering Russia's eyebrow-raising offer to the Trump administration about Arctic resources, because apparently that's where we're at now in global politics. And finally, big news from Capitol Hill as Mitch McConnell drops the retirement bomb on his 83rd birthday. Talk about timing. Stick around as we unpack all of this and more, pulling no punches and telling it like it is. In a disturbing development that further strains the already tense ceasefire agreement, Hamas has committed what Israeli officials are calling a serious violation by failing to return the body of Israel-Bibas as promised. While the remains of her two young children, Ariel and Kefir, were positively identified, the third coffin contained an unidentified body instead of their mother. The IDF has confirmed that Hamas returned the bodies of 4-year-old Ariel and 10-month-old Kefir Bibas, along with the remains of 83-year-old hostage Oded Lifshitz. But in a move that can only be described as a cruel mind game, Hamas attempted to pass off an anonymous body as Shiri's, marking the coffin with the haunting words, "Arrest on October 7th. The Bibas family's story has become a heart-wrenching symbol of the October 7th attack. Their father, Yarden, who was released alive earlier this month, was forced by Hamas to announce his family's death in a propaganda video during his captivity. Those devastating images of Shiri clutching her two young boys while surrounded by terrorists have become seared into Israel's collective memory. The IDF has demanded Hamas immediately return Shiri's actual remains, stating there are absolutely no words to describe such an atrocity. As Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon put it, Hamas has reached a new low, treating human remains as if they were worthless cargo. The terror group even had the audacity to parade the coffins in front of crowds, bizarrely blaming Israel and the US for the hostages' deaths. Looking ahead, Hamas is scheduled to release 6 living hostages this Saturday as part of the ongoing ceasefire deal, with 4 more bodies to be returned next week. But this latest violation raises serious questions about Hamas's commitment to these agreements and their fundamental respect for even the most basic human dignity. In a contentious vote that reflects the deep political divisions in Washington, the Senate has confirmed Kash Patel as the new FBI director with a razor-thin margin of 51-49. Even stalwart Republican moderates Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins broke ranks to vote against the nomination, though Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell's support ultimately helped secure Patel's confirmation. The confirmation comes amid swirling controversy over allegations that Patel had already begun directing mass firings at the FBI before his confirmation. Senate Judiciary Committee's top Democrat Dick Durbin cited what he called highly credible whistleblower reports, though these claims were strongly denied by both Senate Republicans and Patel's team, who maintained he had been waiting in Las Vegas since his confirmation hearing. During that hearing, Patel, known for his vocal opposition to investigations into Donald Trump and his support of 2020 election fraud claims, made several key promises. He vowed there would be no political retribution against agents who worked on sensitive cases, including the classified documents investigation. However, recent developments have complicated this pledge, with thousands of FBI agents being required to detail their roles in January 6th investigations, prompting emergency legal action from concerned personnel. On the contentious issue of surveillance, Patel broke with some conservative voices by opposing warrant requirements for intelligence agencies monitoring U.S. citizens in national security matters. He argued that such requirements would make it almost impossible to protect American citizens effectively, though he acknowledged past misuse of these powers. Looking ahead, Patel has outlined his vision for the Bureau, emphasizing a return to core law enforcement duties and promising greater transparency with Congress. As he takes the helm of the FBI, The question remains whether he can maintain his promises of impartiality while navigating the intensely polarized political landscape that awaits him. In a surprising diplomatic development, Russia has extended an olive branch to the Trump administration, offering a deal involving access to its natural resources and Arctic territories. The proposal came during high-level talks in Saudi Arabia, where Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with U.S. State Secretary Marco Rubio in what marks the most significant diplomatic engagement between the two nations since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Kirill Dmitriev, one of Russia's key delegates at the Saudi talks, made it clear that Moscow is eager to welcome American oil companies back to Russian soil. This comes at a particularly interesting time, as Ukraine recently declined to sign a U.S. proposed deal regarding its own natural resources, citing insufficient security guarantees. Russia's pitch includes the tantalizing prospect of joint Arctic projects, with Dmitriev claiming U.S. companies have lost around $300 billion due to sanctions. It's worth noting that before the Ukraine invasion, ExxonMobil was the only major U.S. oil producer operating in Russia, holding a 30% stake in the Sakhalin-1 project. But here's where it gets really interesting. Russia isn't just talking about oil. They're also pushing for the unfreezing of roughly $6 billion in Russian state assets currently locked up in American accounts. This is just a fraction of the nearly $300 billion in frozen Russian assets worldwide, with most sitting in European banks. Secretary Rubio's response has been carefully measured, assuring European allies that sanctions will remain in place until there's a resolution to the Ukraine conflict. However, he's also hinted at the possibility of lifting some sanctions as part of any peace process, suggesting that all sides will need to make concessions to end the conflict. In a move that's sending shockwaves through the political landscape, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell announced today that he won't seek re-election next year. The Kentucky senator, choosing his 83rd birthday to make this momentous announcement, will bring to close a remarkable career spanning 4 decades in American politics. McConnell, who's dealt with several health challenges recently, including those viral moments when his face briefly froze during speeches, plans to serve out his current term until January 2027. But folks, this isn't just any retirement. We're talking about the longest-serving Senate party leader in U.S. history hanging up his hat. The timing here is particularly fascinating. McConnell's influence has been waning as the Republican Party continues its transformation under Trump's leadership. Their relationship, once a powerful alliance that reshaped the Supreme Court and pushed through major tax reforms, has devolved into public mudslinging, with Trump recently calling McConnell a very bitter guy, and McConnell reportedly describing Trump as a despicable human being. The race to fill McConnell's seat is already heating up in Kentucky. Former State Attorney General Daniel Cameron, a McConnell protege turned Trump loyalist, has thrown his hat in the ring, promising to be an America First senator. We're also hearing buzz about Congressman Andy Barr and businessman Nate Morris potentially joining the fray. What's particularly noteworthy is that Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, despite his rising star status in the party, has already taken himself out of contention. This suggests we're likely looking at a Republican-on-Republican battle that could become a fascinating litmus test for the party's direction in the post-McConnell era. And that wraps up our headlines for today. What a news cycle it's been. From the heartbreaking developments in the Hamas hostage situation to Kash Patel's controversial confirmation as FBI director, Russia's eyebrow-raising Arctic proposal, and of course, the political earthquake of Mitch McConnell's retirement announcement. Whether you're looking to dive deeper into any of these stories or stay up to date with the latest developments, you can find us across all major platforms. Follow our daily updates on X at RantingRP, catch our video podcast on YouTube, and listen to full episodes on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. For exclusive content, in-depth analysis, and the stories behind the headlines, head over to rantingpolitics.com. This is JOC signing off, and thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics headline updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.